This is Paul Brinkhurst from FutureWorks, and we're continuing with our set of instructional videos for ReSET. In this one, we are looking at how you finalize assessments as the case manager. So what's happened is we have created time points, and the staff have completed their assessments, and the employees have completed their assessments as well. And we're now ready to actually finalize those assessments and look at the results. So if I log in and I go to the employee page and I look at, first of all, let's look at self-assessment scores, because if the employees finish their self-assessment, they should be there, and there they are for 10.1. Okay, so we know that that's done. And likewise down here, we know that that's done. Note that video one was doing a full questionnaire long assessment, so their question and responses are right here. And I can look at these. These are their actual scores. This is work, not work, work, not work. Okay. So now I know that I have to finalize these scores in order for the plots to appear. So if I click on supervisor and consensus scores, here's the table. We've had two sets of scores come in, one from the site manager and one from the case manager. You'll have as many rows as you need, depending on how many of your supervisors are linked to this employee. The intent now is that you can have a discussion about any major differences. So 4343, 4446, those are close. 4253, you've got a gap here in terms of the score. The Fred Fender 2 is giving them a higher score, but they're both above 4, which is generally the sort of the cutoff for something that is not satisfactory. Okay, here we've got a little bit of a difference, not that big. If you've got a difference that's concerning you, then you would want to talk to these two case managers or supervisors and perhaps even get them together. Ideally, you get them together and you have a discussion so they can talk about why they scored what they scored. They should be able to justify really high scores or low scores based on their observations. The intent is that you're going to reach a consensus. So here, obviously, the 4.3 is the consensus score. The average here is 3.9. You may decide that one of these is more important than the other. You know, a really low score could be absolutely accurate. It represents a behavior that's happening only in a certain few cases or a certain situation which you need to address, or they could be fired. You know, it's important to decide which score you like, or whether in fact it should be the average. Sometimes you may have a staff member who's scoring really low because they're biased against the employee. Or it could be that a behavior is occurring just in a very narrow band, and you want to make sure you identify what's causing that and try and improve it. In any event, as the counselor, you have to finally enter the consensus score down here. So let's say we decided that the 4.2 was the more accurate score in this case. So you can just change it. Once you've changed it, okay, you can go ahead and put a note in the system about why you did that if you like, but all you've got to do in order to complete the assessment is click finalize. It'll ask you if you're sure, and then it will produce plots. And we will have another video on interpreting these plots. Okay, so that is now done. Having finalized that time point, you're now able to create the next time point in the series. So let's just repeat that for video 2. Here we have the scores. So we've got a little bit of a difference here. That's pretty good. A difference here. That's not bad. So you would look at this score and have a discussion about it and reach a consensus. This is particularly important in the skills assessment programming. You want to make sure that you're all on the same page trying to understand this employee. You want to understand why somebody scored low, what it is they saw, what were the circumstances, so you can help the employee improve that behavior. Okay, if you don't see the blue button here, there'll be a message saying that the employee has to complete their self-assessment first, or there'll be a message saying that you're not the assigned case manager, so you can't finalize it. Okay, but assuming you see it, go ahead and finalize, click the button, and the plot will appear. So now you can discuss this plot as a team and decide what are your priorities, how you're going to proceed. In the video on view and print plots, we'll talk more about that assessment. Just so you're aware, at this point, if that is complete, these plots are now also available under view and print plots. And that concludes the video on reaching consensus and finalizing your plots.